After a divorce or losing a spouse, stepping back into the dating world, especially later in life, can feel overwhelming. For those of us in our 50s, 60s, and beyond, finding new companionship brings both excitement and uncertainty. The dating scene has evolved, and along with it come new risks, including the temptation to rush, the challenge of setting boundaries, and the danger of falling into emotional traps. In this article, we'll explore the unique challenges of dating in your golden years, offering guidance to help you navigate new relationships with caution, wisdom, and self respect. By being mindful and patient, you can protect yourself from repeating past mistakes and find meaningful companionship that truly enhances your life. Before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos. 1. The urgency to prove we still have it can lead to unwise choices. After a long-term marriage ends or we lose a spouse, it's common to feel a surge of self-doubt. Many of us, especially those in our later years, begin to question, am I still desirable? This fear of being unwanted can lead to a powerful urge to re-enter the dating scene, driven by a need to prove that we still have it. However, this urgency can lead us to make choices we might later regret, such as rushing into relationships without fully considering if the person is right for us. For many of us over 55, dating is an entirely different experience than it was decades ago. Back then, meeting someone often happened organically, through friends, community events, or shared activities. Today, with the prevalence of online dating, finding a companion can feel more like shopping than a meaningful search for connection. Dating apps and websites present us with countless profiles, and while this can be exciting, it can also lead us to make decisions based on fleeting validation rather than genuine compatibility. The attention we receive on these platforms can provide a temporary boost to our self-esteem. In those moments, we may feel reassured that we're still attractive and capable of finding love. However, this kind of external validation is short-lived, and it can cloud our judgment. Instead of taking time to assess whether a potential partner is truly aligned with our values, we might jump into something that feels good in the moment, only to later realize the relationship doesn't meet our deeper needs. Chasing validation versus true connection. One of the dangers of chasing validation is that we might settle for less than we deserve, ignoring red flags or compromising on qualities we know are important. This can be especially true if loneliness is driving our actions. After years of companionship, facing life alone can feel overwhelming. The desire to fill that void can lead us into relationships that don't nurture or uplift us. When we make decisions based on fear of being alone, we risk entering superficial relationships or ones where our emotional needs are not met. We might find ourselves with partners who are emotionally unavailable, controlling, or not genuinely interested in building a meaningful connection. Instead of fulfilling companionship, we may end up with a relationship that drains our energy and peace of mind. Slowing down to focus on self-worth. The key to avoiding these pitfalls is to slow down and focus on cultivating self-worth from within. Before jumping into the dating world, it's important to rebuild our sense of confidence by reconnecting with hobbies, friends, and activities that bring us joy. Rather than seeking validation from a new partner, we must remember that our value doesn't depend on someone else's approval. In our golden years, we have the wisdom of experience. We know what we want and need from a relationship, and it's important to honor that knowledge. Instead of rushing to prove ourselves, we should take our time and seek someone who complements our lives, not someone who defines our worth. By approaching dating with patience and self-awareness, we're more likely to find genuine, lasting connections that enrich our lives. 2. The danger of projecting past fantasies onto new people. When we've spent years or even decades with a spouse, it's easy to bring old expectations and desires into new relationships. Many of us may unintentionally project qualities we cherished in our former partner onto someone new. We might meet someone who reminds us of our late spouse or former partner, and in our desire to fill the void left behind, we begin to create an idealized version of this person, often ignoring the reality of who they actually are. This projection can be particularly dangerous because it blinds us to important differences. Rather than seeing the new person for who they truly are, we may be seeing them through the lens of our own past experiences, memories, and long held desires. This can prevent us from building a healthy relationship based on mutual understanding and appreciation. The illusion of familiarity. It's common to feel a sense of comfort or familiarity with someone new, especially if they remind us of someone from our past. But this familiarity is often an illusion, an emotional shortcut that can lead us to overlook red flags or incompatibilities. We may convince ourselves that this new person has qualities they don't actually possess simply because we want them to. We might interpret their actions in ways that align with our hopes rather than reality. For example, if a new partner shares a similar hobby, we might romanticize this connection and ignore signs that their values or personality may not be aligned with ours. The danger is that we end up investing emotionally in a relationship based on who we want the person to be, rather than who they are. Avoiding the trap of projection. The key to avoiding this trap is to approach new relationships with an open mind, free from the weight of past expectations. It's important to take the time to truly get to know someone as an individual, not as a replacement for someone we've lost. By acknowledging the differences between our new partner and our past, we can cultivate a healthier, more genuine connection. At this stage in life, it's essential to embrace the present rather than trying to recreate the past. Each new relationship should be treated as a fresh chapter where we can appreciate the unique qualities and experiences that this person brings to our lives. By doing so, we allow ourselves to form relationships that are authentic, grounded, and free from the weight of past projections. 3. Boundaries or control. Recognizing red flags early on. As we step into new relationships later in life, understanding the difference between healthy boundaries and controlling behavior becomes crucial. Boundaries are essential for maintaining respect and personal comfort in a relationship, but sometimes what appears as a boundary may actually be an attempt to control the dynamics of the relationship. Learning to recognize this difference early on can save us from emotional strain down the road. After spending years in a committed partnership, it's natural to enter new relationships with a certain level of trust. However, we must remain alert to warning signs, especially if the new partner begins setting boundaries that feel more like restrictions. For example, if they dictate when you can call them, control your interactions with friends, or make unreasonable demands on your time, these actions could be red flags indicating control, not healthy boundaries. The fine line between boundaries and control. In healthy relationships, boundaries are mutual and respect each partner's needs. They help create a safe, comfortable space where both individuals can express themselves freely. However, when boundaries become one-sided or excessively rigid, they can be a way for someone to dominate the relationship. Early signs might include a partner telling you what you can and cannot do in specific situations, such as how you communicate or even how you spend your time. At first, these demands might seem small or insignificant, but over time they can escalate. What starts as a simple preference, like not calling before a certain time, can evolve into a pattern of control over daily life decisions. This is particularly dangerous because it can make you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of triggering a negative reaction from your partner. How to respond to early red flags. The best way to handle these early warning signs is to trust your instincts. If something feels off, it's important to address it directly and observe how your partner reacts. In healthy relationships, partners are willing to communicate openly about boundaries and will make efforts to compromise. However, if a partner becomes defensive or dismissive of your concerns, this may be a sign that their boundaries are more about controlling you than respecting your needs. As we age, protecting our emotional well being becomes even more important. There is no need to tolerate relationships that limit your personal freedom or create stress. By recognizing these red flags early and asserting your own boundaries, you can prevent unnecessary emotional hardship and ensure that your relationships are built on mutual respect. 4. The seductive power of physical chemistry and its illusions. Physical attraction can be exhilarating, especially when stepping back into the dating world after years of being with one partner. The excitement of connecting with someone on a physical level can reignite feelings of youth and vitality, making us feel alive in ways we might have forgotten. However, physical chemistry, while powerful, can sometimes blind us to deeper issues in a relationship. It's easy to confuse physical passion with emotional compatibility, leading us into relationships that may not be sustainable long term. For those of us in our later years, the experience of physical intimacy can feel like a rediscovery of a part of ourselves we thought was dormant. After years without that kind of connection, the rush of new physical attraction can be intoxicating. But while physical chemistry is an important aspect of any relationship, it can also create illusions. It's easy to overlook emotional or psychological incompatibilities when the physical connection feels strong. We may tell ourselves that the excitement of the moment will compensate for deeper mismatches in values, goals, or personality. The risk of ignoring deeper issues. The problem with relying on physical chemistry is that it can mask the true dynamics of the relationship. The thrill of attraction might lead us to downplay conflicts or dismiss early red flags. We may even convince ourselves that certain behaviors or differences aren't important because the physical connection feels so good. But as anyone with experience knows, physical attraction alone cannot sustain a relationship in the long term. In fact, relationships built solely on physical attraction often struggle when the initial excitement begins to fade. Without emotional depth, shared values, and mutual respect, the relationship may feel hollow once the physical spark starts to dim. At this stage in life, it's essential to look beyond the physical and consider whether a potential partner offers the emotional and intellectual connection that will last beyond the honeymoon phase. Balancing chemistry with compatibility. While it's natural to enjoy the excitement that comes with physical chemistry, it's important to keep it in perspective. True companionship in our later years requires more than just passion. It requires compatibility, shared goals, and a deep emotional bond. Taking the time to assess whether a partner aligns with your emotional and intellectual needs, in addition to physical attraction, will help you avoid the disappointment of realizing the relationship lacks substance. When re entering the dating world, it's important to remind ourselves that love at this stage is about balance. Chemistry is part of the equation, but it shouldn't overshadow the need for a meaningful connection that brings peace and fulfillment in the long run. A relationship rooted in both emotional and physical compatibility is far more likely to stand the test of time. 5. Emotional manipulation and gaslighting. Recognizing the patterns. Emotional manipulation and gaslighting are tactics that can appear in any relationship, but they can be particularly difficult to detect when we're older and more vulnerable. After years of being in a stable relationship, we may be out of practice in recognizing manipulative behaviors. Worse, we may not expect such actions from a new partner, especially if they initially present themselves as kind, understanding, and charming. Gaslighting, in particular, is a subtle form of emotional manipulation where one partner causes the other to doubt their own perceptions, memory, or sanity. It often begins with small, seemingly innocent comments like, "I never said that," or "You're overreacting." Over time, these comments accumulate, and the victim starts questioning their own reality. As older adults re-entering the dating scene, we may be more prone to overlook these behaviors because we want to believe in the goodness of our new partner or are eager to make the relationship work. Recognizing the signs of gaslighting. The early signs of gaslighting can be difficult to spot because the manipulator often disguises their behavior as concern or care. For example, they might say something like, "I'm just looking out for you," while subtly undermining your confidence in your own judgment. Over time, this can make you feel increasingly dependent on your partner to validate your experiences and emotions, leading to a loss of self-trust. Other forms of emotional manipulation might include using guilt to control your actions or playing the victim to avoid taking responsibility for their behavior. These tactics can leave you feeling confused, frustrated, and unsure of where you stand in the relationship. How to protect yourself from emotional manipulation. If you start to notice patterns of gaslighting or manipulation, it's important to trust your instincts. Don't dismiss your own feelings or allow your partner to make you question your reality. Confide in a trusted friend or family member for perspective, and pay attention to whether your partner tries to isolate you from those who care about you. Setting clear boundaries is critical. If your partner continually disrespects your boundaries or tries to turn the conversation around to make you feel guilty or at fault, these are strong signs that the relationship may not be healthy. It's never too late in life to walk away from a relationship that's undermining your well-being. Understanding your own worth. In your golden years, you've earned the wisdom and self-awareness to recognize what you deserve in a relationship. If someone is causing you to doubt yourself or using manipulation to control the dynamic, they are not respecting your worth. Remember, emotional well-being is just as important as physical health. At this stage in life, you deserve relationships that are supportive, respectful, and grounded in trust. 6. The relief of ending a toxic relationship. Leaving a toxic relationship, especially later in life, can feel like an overwhelming decision. After investing time and emotions, the idea of starting over can be daunting. However, staying in a relationship that drains your energy and diminishes your peace of mind will only prolong the damage. The truth is, ending a toxic relationship is not just an act of self-care. It's a chance to reclaim your emotional well-being and happiness. The decision to walk away often comes after enduring repeated cycles of control, manipulation, or constant conflict. You might have spent months or even years justifying your partner's behavior, telling yourself that things will get better or that your expectations are too high. But there comes a moment when the weight of the relationship feels heavier than the loneliness you might fear by leaving it. The emotional toll of staying in a toxic relationship. Toxic relationships take an emotional toll over time. You might find yourself becoming anxious, frustrated, or constantly second-guessing your actions. The relationship may feel more like a source of stress than comfort. Even in moments when things seem calm, the underlying tension can leave you feeling uneasy, as though you're waiting for the next argument or criticism. As older adults, it's crucial to recognize that peace of mind is a non-negotiable part of a healthy life. At this stage, we should be enjoying the emotional freedom and stability we've worked so hard to achieve, not living in fear of conflict or manipulation. A relationship that consistently undermines your sense of well-being isn't just frustrating. It can be emotionally exhausting, robbing you of the joy and tranquility you deserve. Kerper, the relief and liberation of walking away. Though ending a toxic relationship can be painful, the relief that follows is often profound. Once the decision is made and you've stepped away, you might find that your emotional clarity and sense of self quickly return. The heavy burden of trying to make the relationship work lifts, and you're left with the peace of knowing you no longer have to navigate someone else's emotional minefield. There's a powerful sense of liberation in reclaiming your autonomy, especially after spending so long trying to accommodate someone else's needs and moods. You may find yourself sleeping better, feeling less stressed, and rediscovering joy in everyday activities. The emotional space that opens up allows you to reconnect with the things that truly matter: family, friends, hobbies, and the pursuit of happiness on your own terms. It's never too late to choose happiness. One of the most important lessons we can learn, no matter our age, is that it's never too late to prioritize our own happiness. Relationships should enhance our lives, not detract from them. If a relationship becomes toxic, ending it is an act of self-respect. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace, especially at this stage in life when time is precious. Walking away from a toxic relationship is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of strength. It's an acknowledgement that you deserve better and that your emotional health is worth safeguarding. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you create space for healing, growth, and the possibility of future relationships that bring real joy and fulfillment. 7. Learning to be cautious with future relationships. After experiencing the pain of a toxic or unfulfilling relationship, it's natural to approach future relationships with greater caution. For many of us, dating in our 50s, 60s, or beyond brings with it a unique set of challenges. We are wiser now, but that wisdom comes with the recognition that our emotional health and happiness are more important than ever. The experiences of the past have taught us valuable lessons, and it's essential to carry that wisdom forward into new relationships. One of the biggest mistakes we can make, especially later in life, is rushing into new relationships too quickly. After the loneliness of a breakup or the loss of a spouse, the desire for companionship can be overwhelming. However, jumping into a new relationship without taking the time to reflect on what we truly want and need can lead to repeating old patterns or finding ourselves in another emotionally draining situation. Taking time to heal and reflect. Before entering a new relationship, it's important to take time to heal and reflect. What did you learn from your previous relationships? What qualities are non-negotiable for you and a partner? What are your personal boundaries? And how will you ensure they are respected in the future? These are important questions to ask yourself before committing to someone new. By reflecting on your past, you can avoid falling into familiar traps. You may notice patterns in your previous relationships, such as ignoring red flags or prioritizing your partner's needs over your own. Acknowledging these patterns allows you to break free from them and move forward with clarity and purpose. Trusting your instincts and setting boundaries. One of the most valuable tools you possess at this stage of life is your intuition. Over the years, you've developed a strong sense of what feels right and what doesn't. Trusting your instincts is crucial when navigating new relationships. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Pay attention to how your potential partner makes you feel. Are they respectful of your boundaries, or do they push against them? Do they enhance your life, or do you find yourself feeling stressed or anxious around them? Setting boundaries from the start is key. Be clear about what you will and won't tolerate in a relationship. If a potential partner disrespects your boundaries or tries to manipulate you, it's a sign that the relationship may not be right for you. It's important to prioritize your own emotional well-being and not compromise on the things that matter most to you. Choosing quality over companionship. At this stage in life, the quality of a relationship is far more important than the simple fact of having companionship. It's better to be alone and at peace than to be in a relationship that causes stress or diminishes your happiness. Finding someone who respects you, understands you, and shares your values is worth the wait. Don't settle for less just to avoid being alone. Learning to be cautious with future relationships doesn't mean closing yourself off to love. It means being mindful and intentional about who you let into your life. With the right partner, love in your later years can be deeply fulfilling, bringing joy, comfort, and companionship. But it's essential to approach new relationships with patience and wisdom, ensuring that the connection enhances your life rather than complicates it. Conclusion: choosing love wisely in your golden years. At this stage of life, love is about finding someone who complements the journey you've already traveled, rather than building a future from scratch. However, it's crucial to be cautious, learn from past relationships, and trust your instincts. Your well being comes first, and it's far better to be alone than in a relationship that drains your happiness. When approached wisely, love in later life can be deeply rewarding. By prioritizing emotional health, setting clear boundaries, and taking time to find the right connection, you can ensure that new relationships bring joy, comfort, and companionship that uplift you in your golden years. Thank you for watching the entire video. If you find these stories inspiring and motivating, please comment one. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.